everyone, just like before, I want you and your daughters to put today's date and the title. If you want to learn intention to understand equivalent fractions. And to be successful today, if you're going for a mild or red, I can use diagrams to show equivalent fractions. So I'm expecting you to do lots of drawing. And if you're going to push yourself to green or spicy or hot, you can use multiplication to find equivalent fractions. But what can you remember about yesterday? Okay, pick a warm-up task. For your mild warm-up task, you can write the blue as an improper fraction. So write the blue shaded part of that as an improper fraction. For spicy, I want you to write 23/5 as a mixed number. And for hot, I want you to write the steps to converting a mixed number to an improper fraction. How would you do that? Pause the video and give that a go. Here are your answers. So of course this is as an improper fraction, it would be 6/4, because on this strip it's been split up into 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of it's been coloured in. And on this strip, it's not a strip. On this strip it's been cut up into 4 equal pieces, but 2 of them have been coloured in, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 possible quarters. Okay. You had to write this as a mixed number. It would be 5 3/5. Now remember, the strategy is you would divide 23 by 5, and you would get 5 remainder 3. So you have 5 wholes, so you would have 5 whole pizzas, and your remainder would be 3. So the remainder becomes the numerator. So it would be 5 3/5. And for hot, you had to write the steps to converting a mixed number to an improper fraction. Now, this time around you're multiplying. I didn't write it down, so what you had to do was you had to multiply the whole number by the denominator, and then add the numerator. Oh, I did write it down. Multiply the denominator by the whole number, then add the numerator. I did do it. If you wanted to give an example on that, that would be great. So let's move on. I can use diagrams to show equivalent fractions. So what do you notice about fractions that equal to 1/2? Let's have a look. So 1/2, okay, is the same as saying 2/4, which is the same as saying 3/6, which is the same as saying 4/8, 5/10, and 6/12. Why? Why do you think that? What do you notice? Well, two fractions might look different because they have different numerators and different denominators, but they might still represent the same number. And diagrams are a great way to show that. In each of these shapes, half has been coloured. Now imagine these are all, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've got 6 pizzas, right? I've got 6 pizzas, and for my friends, and one of my friends decides to cut her pizza in half. So she just has one line down the middle. She has 2 equal pieces. But then my other friend, with her pizza, she decides to cut her pizza into quarters, and she eats 2 quarters, wholes. Then I have another friend with their pizza. They've cut it up into 6 equal pieces, and they're taking nice delicate little 6 slices. So they've taken 3 of the possible 6 slices, but they're still only eating a half of their pizza. Likewise with my other friends. Now these are called equivalent fractions, which basically means the same as. What I want you to do for your red or mild task is I want you to look at these fractions, and I want you to write the equivalent fraction for each of these. Okay? If you want an extension task after this, I want you to click there, and then you can do that by going and downloading the slideshow. Click on there, and I want you to play the games for this, okay? There are lots of games by clicking on that link. You can also go on Bite Size, BBC Bite Size, and Google and BBC Bite Size equivalent fractions, and stuff should come up as well. That's a great way of doing it. And then when you're finished, you can maybe try and give this a go by using multiplication to find equivalent fractions. So equivalent fractions have the same value, even though they may look different. Now these fractions are really the same. A half is the same as 2/4, which is the same as 4/8. Now on the last slide, we could prove that by drawing diagrams. but that can become quite annoying over time, especially when you're dealing with really quite big fractions and by constantly having to draw pictures. So we're going to use our knowledge of the operations to help us with this. So why are they the same? Well, because when you multiply or divide both the top and the bottom number by the same number, the fraction keeps its value. So here is why those fractions are really the same. So 1/2, I've decided I'm going to multiply my numerator and my denominator by 2 each time. So I've got 1/2, I've multiplied my numerator by 2, which gives me 2. Then if I'm going to find the next one up, I'm multiplying it by 2 again. And then each time I'm multiplying by 2 on the denominator. So whatever I do to the top, I must do to the bottom. That's how I find an equivalent fraction. Visually, that would look like this. There we go, my pal's back with their pizzas. The first one, 1/2, is like this. Now I've multiplied my numerator and my denominator by 2 to show 2/4. Then I've multiplied it by 2 again to show 4/8. It is possible to find a fraction equivalent to 1/2 by simply multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. That should have been 1/2. I'm so sorry. I might draw that in something. You get the gist. Okay, here is your challenge. Obviously, I'm in the way for one of those questions. Apologies. What I'd like you to do is to use multiplication to find these equivalent fractions. Now, if you have a look at this, here's an example of how you do that. What I want you to do is, now I have given you either the denominator or the numerator each time. So you've got to work out, what have I multiplied this number by to get this? Okay, now we know that because of inverse, okay? Now, what would I have to multiply 2 by to get 6? 3, yeah. So I have multiplied 2 by 3. So if I've multiplied, so I would write 3 up here. So if I've multiplied my numerator by 3, I'm also going to have to multiply my denominator by 3. So 5 times by 3 is 15. So 2/5 is the same as saying 6/15. And you've got to do that here. You've got to work out, what have I multiplied 3 by to get 6, and then do the same to the numerator. Okay? And if you need a little bit of help doing that, look at these diagrams and the examples to give you a clue. Okay? Let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to show you the answers now. So pause this video and do that for me. Here are the answers. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is to mark your work. So pause the video and give it a mark. Okay, now if you are finished with that and you're thinking, I'm pretty confident with this, I'm pretty happy with it, I want you to challenge yourself further. So your green challenge or your hot challenge is to find the next equivalent fraction for each fraction of the amber challenge. So you've got to tell me what comes next. So if I've multiplied it by 3 here, I'm going to multiply it by 3 again to find what happens here. So let's do the first one for us. Okay, I'm going to times that by 3 again. So 6 times by 3, and so on. Do the answers here. And then I'm going to do 15 times by 3. And then whatever that is going to be the same as 2/5, same as 6/15, and so on. Okay? I'm not going to give you the answer because I've realised I'm already covering up one of your questions, so I don't want to cover up too many more. So give that a go, and let me see how you got on. So I want you to mark your work, take a photo for your teacher and send it to her. I want you then to self-assess against the success criteria. How do you think you did? Tell your teacher. So your success criteria, your learning intention was to understand equivalent fractions. Do you understand what they are? Can you use diagrams to show equivalent fractions? Can you use multiplication to find equivalent fractions? For your next steps, for tomorrow, we will be simplifying fractions. Oh, and if you do want to take this further and practice a little bit more, if you go on to our file section, you will see the SHM7 textbook on there. You'll also find TJ2A textbook. Flick until you find equivalent fractions in there, and you can do some of the tasks set I think for, well, I've not got the book with me here, but you can do a wee bit more extension work for yourself, okay? Enjoy!